Hello everyone, this is Pooka and welcome to the 7th and final Swiss round here from the Klaczynski Open 2013. We have had an incredible tournament with over 120 Masters, players. We've had some players from the junior and senior divisions actually play in the main event, so it's not all Masters here. But it's interesting to note that a lot of these younger players are doing well. For example, Lex in our previous round went 6-0, so he's basically guaranteed to be in the top 8. And in this match, we're going to be featuring another younger player doing incredibly well, and that is Xander. Now, Xander is the 2011 national champion in the U.S. in the junior division. Playing in the senior division now, but he is an incredibly smart kid, and we're going to be seeing him go up against Pramawat. So this should be an awesome matchup. Let's cut over to it. So Pram will be on the left. Of course, Pram is from the top cut. And we'll be seeing him again with his Team Plasma deck. Xander, we have not featured him before because he is in the senior division. But he is also 5-1. The winner of this match will go on to the top 8 here at the Klaczynski Open. This should be a really cool matchup. We'll get to see an established veteran and pro like Pram going up against a younger kid who has a ton of tournament experience. Obviously, he's a champion, a national champion. So this should be very interesting to watch. I've been very intrigued by kind of the younger generation of Pokemon players. They have been just doing extremely well, showing that, hey, they can compete with anybody. And it should be an interesting matchup as well. We have Pram playing the Team Plasma deck, going up against Xander playing a Darkrai Hydreigon deck, which we do not see very often. People have been saying Hydreigon is just maybe got some new life with the new set with Virizion EX. Of course, it plays the blend energy so that it provides the grass. So you are immune to Hypnotoxic Laser when you have a blend energy on your active. And you have the Virizion EX in play. So Hydreigon, it'll be interesting. I mean, this is a deck we have not seen yet in this tournament. We have not featured this deck once in these rounds. And this is the final round. The winner of this player will move on to the top 8. They will go 6-1. The loser will go 5-2 and most likely miss the top 8. It looks like we have the opening flip. Looks like Xander will be going first. It looks like it. And now we'll get to see who moves on to the top 8. Will we have another senior player in the top 8 here in this incredibly difficult tournament? Or will Pram move on to the top 8? So the Plasma versus the Darkrai Hydreigon deck is a very complicated matchup, actually. You know, the Hydreigon deck can really pull off some tricks with that Dragon Blast attack for 140. You can knock out that Plasma Kyurem in one hit, wipe off all the energy from your opponent's board. But it can get overwhelmed by early pressure from that Plasma Kyurem as well. Pram does play Hypnotoxic Laser, Verbank City Gym. Those could be neutralized by the Virizion EX. But he also does play a Silver Bangle, I believe, which could be big at knocking out those Darkrai EX in one hit. Of course, if you don't knock out Darkrai in one hit, Xander will play the Max Potion. He'll use Hydreigon's Dark Trance, move the Dark Energy off the Pokemon that has the damage, and then Max Potion off the damage, move the energy back, and then continue to attack. Jason has announced that the top 16 will receive prizes, but it will be a top 8 cut. Top 16 actually gets half of a box here. So very good prize support here. And we have 75 minutes plus 3 turns, and we're getting started here. Xander versus Pramawat. I didn't think I'd get to see this matchup here at the Klaczynski Open. But, hey, anything can happen. We do have an Ultra Ball from Xander, discarding a Max Potion and a Professor Juniper, so he probably has a second Juniper in his hand. We do have that Dino on the bench. The Sableye is active with the Blend Energy right away. And we'll see what he searches for. He has a couple options. He can go for another Dino, just kind of be safe in case the Dino does get knocked out on his bench. He really wants to get Hydreigon in play. And another option could just be a Darkrai. Get that in play. You do need Darkrai. That's your main attacker for this deck. Third option could be a Virizion EX. That way it would neutralize the Hypnotoxic Laser. Take away Pram's option to go for a turn 1 Helix Force for 60, plus a Laser to knock out the Sableye. Looks like he's going to go for the second Dino, which is probably a good choice. All right, so now going to have a second Dino hit the field. There's a bit of a glare from the sleeves, I apologize. But Pram has an active Deoxys EX. Xander has that Sableye active. 2 Dino on the bench. And we'll have to see where Xander goes from here. I think ideally he would like to get a Darkrai in play. But it looks like he's just going to go for that Junk Hunt and get back. Looks like a Max Potion and a catcher. I think that's what I saw. All right, and now it'll be up to Pram to do something on his turn. We're going to see a Skyla right away. He's going to be able to search for any trainer card. This could be a myriad of options. Could be a Switch, a Floatstone. Could go for Hypnotoxic Laser. Could do an Ultra Ball. All sorts of options here for Pram. He really wants to put the pressure on. If both decks kind of just set up and have their way, and then kind of go at it when they're both fully set up, I think the Hydreigon deck probably comes out on top. That Dragon Blast attack for 140 is brutal when it gets going. And of course you have Darkrai Night Spearing all the time as well. So Pram really wants to put pressure on early. Not let Xander get that full setup where he gets a bunch of energy in play of the Hydreigon and he can start to Max Potion off of his damaged Pokemon. He really just wants to go attack, be aggressive, and it looks like that's what he's going to do here. So he's going to Skyla for that Chorus Machine. Both these players are 5-1. We're featuring a match that is win and get in. If you lose, you're out. So there's a lot of pressure on the line here. It's a best 2 out of 3 series. But this is just probably the most pressure you could be under at a tournament. You win your round, you advance to the top 8. You lose, your tournament is over. So who will respond under the pressure here? We do have Chorus Machine goes on to the Deoxys EX, and then a Team Plasma Ball goes to the Thundurus EX. And you got to think Pram's going to go for a knockout here on the first turn if he can. Yes, there is a Plasma Energy and a Hypnotoxic Laser. There's no Virizion EX to save that Sableye from being poisoned. So it looks like we're going to get turn 1 Helix Force for 60. Nice play from Pram. He's going to take the energy off the Sableye and then get the first prize. Now this can be good advantage. Oh, turn 2 Hydreigon. There it is right away. This is probably not what Pram wanted to see. Pram recently has had a really bad run against these kinds of setup decks. He has mentioned in particular he hates Blastoise because they always just seem to get a turn 2 Blastoise against him, get the Black Ballista, and he can't do anything. So any deck with rare candy has to make Pram kind of have flashbacks at this point. And there is a Skyla. Now the Hydreigon is good, but you need energy to go with it as well. We do see the Ultra Ball from Xander. We'll see what he goes for this turn. I did see a Dark Patch in his hand, but he may not be able to get anything with that. There's an Ultra Ball. I'll have to discard 2 cards here. Discards the Darkness Energy and a Max Potion. Doesn't look like he has too much following this Hydreigon, but unfortunately for him, Pram does not really have a big attacker lined up. He just has the Deoxys, which is dependent on your opponent having energy attached to them. Helix Force does 30, plus 30 for each energy attached to the defending Pokemon. So the base damage here is 30, which is not putting out much pressure at all. He'll probably need to switch gears here and then go into Thundurus EX, start to power up a Kyurem on the following turn, if he can do that. Otherwise, Deoxys on its own is not going to be good against this deck. And it looks like Xander is going to pass, and now it's going to be on Pram to do something here. So it looks like he has a few options. He has a Skyla in his hand. Let's going to take a look at Xander's discard pile. Xander was able to get 1 energy in play there. Got the Dark Patch onto Darkrai. But he still won't be able to Night Spear next turn unless he gets a second Dark Patch. He'll need to get a second Darkness in the discard pile as well. And then a second Dark Patch and another energy. We do see Pram play a Skyla for a Professor Juniper. So it seems like his hand was fairly weak. He may have had an N or a Chorus. And that's why he was just kind of sitting back and going, all right. I will Skyla for the Chorus Machine on the first turn, put on some pressure. I have the Chorus to fall back on if you fill your bench. But then Xander didn't really fill his bench, so now he's like, uh-oh. And he plays the Skyla for the Juniper. So we'll have a draw card for next turn. Xander, on the other hand, will he have a draw card this turn? It looks like he does have a Juniper as well. Discard his hand and draw 7. He plays the Max Potion, moves the damage off the active, and he's going to go ahead and play that Juniper, draw a fresh 7. This could be a very big turn for him if he could pull off a Night Spear. Pram will be in some trouble. But it looks like there are 2 Max Potion in Xander's discard pile. Also a lot of Pokemon Catcher. So he's running out of resources just based on these early Professor Junipers having to discard his hand. He can recover those at some point with Sableye, with that Junk Hunt attack. But he will have to use a turn to do that. Looks like we see a Blend Energy go down onto the Darkrai, and here is a Computer Search. Gonna discard a Rare Candy and a Dark Patch. Now he will not be able to Night Spear. He did not get any Dark Energy into the discard pile. So he may have to go just for a Sableye, honestly. Get a Sableye, Junk Hunt back some of your resources, and then it won't hurt you very much, because if you just leave the Sableye to get hit, just put the Darkness Energy on it, and then when it gets knocked out, you can Dark Patch, and then you can Night Spear on the following turn. So he'll sacrifice a prize maybe, and it may not even get knocked out, but he would maybe sacrifice a prize in order to get more item cards. So we do see Hydreigon's Dark Trance, moving the energy up to the active. Then he gets the free retreat from Darkrai's Dark Cloak, moves the energy back to the Sableye, and now he can use Junk Hunt to get back 2 item cards. So Darkrai Hydreigon is one of the decks that just has the most beautiful synergy of all the cards in the game right now. Everything just seems to work perfectly with this deck. You're able to move Darkness Energy around with Hydreigon. Darkrai gives everything free retreat. And you use Dark Energy to attack as well. And you can also use the Blend Energy that provides Darkness Energy to use Hydreigon's Dragon Blast attack. It does require 1 Psychic Energy, but you also get the free retreat if you have the Blend Energy, since it does provide Dark Energy. Now this was a deck that was used last year during Battle Roads and Regionals at the beginning of the season, a little bit through City Championships as well. But it kind of fell off the scene after Blastoise came out. Black Kyurem EX in particular seemed to put Hydreigon in the grave for good. Black Ballista just knocking out your Pokemon in 1 hit every time. It's pretty good when you're just trying to Max Potion and heal damage. You can't heal damage when you just take 200 and get knocked out. So we did see Hydreigon kind of fade away. But it's always going to be a strong deck if it sets up. Darkrai, obviously always strong. Night Spear is an incredible attack. Jace Klaczynski just won the World Championships with it. We saw Darkrai Garbodor take top 4 at the World Championships. Also, we saw even Lex go 6-0 in the Swiss rounds with it. So Darkrai is just a card that is always going to be extremely strong. And we'll see if Hydreigon can actually take down Pram's Team Plasma deck here. So it looks like we have a Plasma Kyurem now in play. Pram did not hit the Hypnotoxic Laser, so he will not be able to knock out the Sableye. He's only going to do 40 damage to it. And now Xander for sure will be able to get that Night Spear this turn. Now Pram is powering up that Kyurem. That's got to be his big attacker in this matchup. We do see the Computer Search back again for Xander, discarding a Dark Energy and a Rare Candy. But Kyurem has to be the attacker in this matchup for Pram. Blizzard Burn does 120 damage. And then you get to add additional damage with Deoxys EX's Power Connect ability. So you can start to hit up to 150 damage when you get 3 Deoxys in play. And then when you have cards like Silver Bangle or Hypnotoxic Laser, you can then knock out the Darkrai EX in 1 hit. And that's what you're aiming for in this matchup. We do see a Max Potion from Xander after he moves the energy off. Heals off that Sableye, negates Pram's attack. Now we'll have the Professor Juniper drawing 7 cards. And we'll see if he can get anything else good here. He may be fishing for a Pokemon Catcher. Try to catch her out the bench Kyurem to get some damage on it. Otherwise, he may just go ahead with Night Spear. Now, if he does have a Pokemon catcher, what he could do is just attach Retreat to Hydreigon, and then catcher the Kyurem and Dragon Blast it for a knockout. Take those 2 energy off of the field and go from there. But it looks like he's just going to be content to Junk Hunt, which is actually very smart. A lot of players here would just go ahead and say, whatever, Night Spear. I have the energy in play. I have the Hydreigon in play. Let's Night Spear. But Xander realizes, there is a chance I could just be knocked out by the Kyurem's Blizzard Burn if Pram has the correct cards. So instead of just kind of going out there, and then if I get knocked out, I'll be set way back, I'm going to use another turn to Junk Hunt, build some more resources in my hand, get some more energy in play, and then when I have all the energy in play, I'll be content to attack. That way nothing can really catch me off guard. Once I start attacking, I want to keep attacking the rest of the game. If I ever have a lull in activity where I Night Spear one turn, then I get knocked out, and then I have to go back and Junk Hunt again, that's not nearly as strong. So he actually Junk Hunts for, looks like, an Ultra Ball and a Max Potion. So it looks like Xander realizes that Pram also plays Hypnotoxic Laser. He wants to get Virizion EX into play. Shut that off. I believe that's why he played the Ultra Ball there. And wow! 2 Deoxys EX down for Pram. He is going all in on this turn. He really wants to hit that Pokemon catcher and energy and then a Hypnotoxic Laser. If he can do that, he can knock out the Darkrai EX this turn. Take 2 prizes, take out 2 energy in play. More importantly, a second blend energy. Another alternative, if he just gets a Pokemon catcher and an energy, he can knock out the Hydreigon for 150 damage with Blizzard Burn. Both would be extremely big plays. Did he get the catcher? He got the first 2. And no. Looks like just the Hypnotoxic Laser and the energy, but no Pokemon catcher. So he's just going to play Hypnotoxic Laser, not even going to flip for it because, well, it's going to be a knockout no matter what. We're going to see a Raiden Knuckle for 60, and the Poison will finish off the Sableye. And now it's up to Xander. He sends up the Hydreigon. The reason you would do this is that you have an option to Dark Patch extra energy onto Darkrai, and you can just freely retreat the Hydreigon. So there's no harm in doing it. And there's the Virizion EX. There's another blend energy. What will Xander do this turn? He has a random receiver, reveals until he gets a supporter, and looks like he got an N. So he's going to put that back into his hand, and then Pram will be forced to shuffle in and draw 4. Xander will shuffle in and draw 6. This will be a huge turn in the game. If Xander can get a Pokemon catcher, you got to think he would go after that fully powered Kyurem this turn. Will he get it though? No, he's just going to go up to Darkrai. And level ball here. Maybe get a Zweilous if there's one in his deck. Evolve that Dino into the stage 1. And yes, that's exactly what he gets. He gets the stage 1 Zweilous. Evolves his second Dino. In case the Hydreigon does go down, he'll at least have an easy option to just evolve the Zweilous back into a Hydreigon. And then not miss a turn of his Dark Trance. Now this turn is going to be really risky for Xander though. Even though he does have the Virizion EX, the ability that will shut off Pram's Hypnotoxic Lasers, Pram does play Silver Bangle. So Silver Bangle could come in handy here. If he can do 180 damage, knock out this Darkrai EX, he will be in an incredible position to win this game. There we have the Night Spear. It's going to be 90 to the active Thunderous EX, 30 to the Deoxys EX with the Plasma Energy on it. And Pram draws a Colress. He had 2 Professor Juniper in hand, I believe. Now he has a Colress for 9 cards. 8 cards, actually. Pram's going to take a look at Virizion EX. He says, that's pretty good. He may be thinking, can I play Laser if Virizion EX is activated? And the answer is actually yes, you can play the Hypnotoxic Laser just to get rid of it. But it looks like Pram's saying, you know what, I might use this at some point. You could always use it at some point to catch or something that does not have the blend energy attached, and then get a knockout that way. So Pram is going to get a Colress here for 8 cards. Will he draw a Silver Bangle off of this? It's that Pokemon tool that allows you to do 30 more damage to Pokemon EX. Does he get it off of this? Looks like no. Do not see the Silver Bangle. He does have a Float Stone, though. He could rush in and retreat. And he does have an option to catch with a Hydreigon this turn, which would also be a big play. We did see Xander discard a Hydreigon early on in the game. So he may only have one left in his deck. Most decks only play 3 Hydreigon. And if that is the case, maybe one's prized, or maybe he just won't be able to search for it. So Pram is just going to go ahead and catch out the Hydreigon. It also has the Blend energy attached to it still, which is going to be painful. Xander will lose an energy. And you know, without Hydreigon, this Darkrai Hydreigon deck obviously falls apart. Because then it just turns into a slow Darkrai deck. There's no max potions involved. There's no nothing. Looks like Pram is actually going to attach a Lightning and then retreat his Prism off. You might think, why would he do that? He could have just rushed in and retreated. Well, that's true. But now he's got an extra Prism energy in the discard pile for Raid Knuckle later. And he still has the Lightning on there to use Raid Knuckle. So kind of a subtle thing there. Kind of a cool play. We'll see if it ends up mattering though. So now Xander promotes the Zweilous, attaches a Dark to it, and he's going to play that N. Xander will shuffle in and draw 6. Pram will shuffle in and draw 3. Pram is at a definite advantage at this point. However, if Xander can hit that third Hydreigon off of this N to 6, it will be a simple Dragon Blast. Move all the energy active with Dark Trance. Dragon Blast for 140 damage. Knock out the Kyurem. And Pram loses all 3 energy on that Kyurem. And he's going to be set back in terms of his setup. So this is going to be a huge play here. Does Xander? He gets the Ultra Ball. Okay. He discards the Rare Candy. And then a Bianca as well, I believe. Yep. Is the third Hydreigon in his deck? Yes, he's got it. So there we go. The Hydreigon comes down. Will Xander decide to use Dragon Blast this turn? Knock out Pram's Kyurem. Take 1 prize, which doesn't seem like much, but the bigger thing is that he discards all the energy on Pram's field. So this would be a huge play if he goes for it. Puts the Dark Claw onto Darkrai as well, and yes, he's just going to move all 3 energy active with Hydreigon's Dark Trance. And now, Pram's going to have to do something to respond. There is the Dragon Blast. Xander does have to discard 2 Darkness energy to use that attack. So he goes ahead and does that, and Pram just looks at his hand and says, alright, I'm going to play my laser. Does nothing. He can flip, technically, doesn't do anything. And then he's going to Juniper. That was a nice top deck, that Professor Juniper there. So this turn, he's going to be hoping to get an energy attachment onto his Kyurem that he did draw off that. He Tool Scrappers away the Dark Claw on the Darkrai. And now we see a Kyurem here. He's got a Chorus Machine as well. And a Computer Search, a very strong draw off of that N to 3. So we're probably just going to see a Raid Knuckle from Pram this turn. But the Thundurus EX already has 90 damage on it. So he's kind of putting it in harm's way. It'll be knocked out by a Night Spear. We are going to see a retreat. Does a free retreat with the Float Stone. And then a Raid Knuckle for 60 damage. And then put a Blend onto the Kyurem with Raid Knuckle. Now, one interesting thing to note. Pram did hold on to a Computer Search in his hand. He did not attach an energy for the turn. So you may wonder, why did he not play that Computer Search and just go for an energy to get an attachment for the turn? Why would he do that? And, well, there's an N from Xander. That's going to break up Pram's play. What I was going to say is, Pram was holding onto that Computer Search so that he could search for the Silver Bangle and surprise Xander with that one-hit knockout on this Darkrai. Now, it seems like the N will shuffle Pram's hand back in, and he's going to have to redraw that Computer Search to get that one-hit knockout with Kyurem's Blizzard Burn. Now we're going to have a Dark Trance using Hydreigon. He's going to move the energy up to his Darkrai, and we're going to have a Night Spear for a knockout. Xander will tie this game. And looks like we have a max potion on the Hydreigon as well. So it looks like Xander is going to actually have an advantage in this game from here on out. We have a Night Spear knocking out the active Thunderous EX. He's going to put 30 more on Deoxys EX. That now has 60 damage on it. Pram promotes the Keldeo with the Float Stone. Oh, he gets a Pokemon catcher. Pram could wipe out the Hydreigon again. And it looks like that's really his only play here. That is a very strong play, though. He's going to bring out the Hydreigon a second time. Huge top deck for Pram. Has the Prism, the Blizzard Burn for 150, the Knockout. And now Xander really just has to win with this one Darkrai EX the rest of the way. It has to take him home. Maybe not, though. There's a blend and a Prism, or a blend and a Dark Patch. So 2 energy on this new Darkrai. Uh-oh. Pram could be in some trouble with 2 Darkrai's powered up. And another N from Xander. This one might actually help Pram, though. He did not have anything in that hand. He had an Absol and a Kyurem and nothing of importance, really. He drew a Float Stone off the prize. So this N to 2 could put Pram into the Silver Bangle, which would win him the game. Xander will be able to Night Spear for 90, and then 30 to a benched Pokemon, which is exactly what he's going to do here. Night Spear. Put 30 on the Deoxys EX. He is setting up to win. And, oh, Pram top decks a Chorus. What a huge draw. Wow, a Chorus off of the end to 2. Will he get the Silver Bangle to win the game here? Comes down to this. Pram will draw 6 cards off of this Chorus. Will he get either a Computer Search or a Silver Bangle for the win? That's all he needs here. He can rush in, retreat, Blizzard Burn for the game. And we got 6 cards, folks. Does he get the Bangle? I don't see it. No. Wow, he missed. Okay, so Xander is still alive in this game. Huh. Where will he attach his energy for the turn? Now he can rush in, retreat, Blizzard Burn for 150 damage. And Xander has played a lot of max potions, so it'll be stuck with that damage, I think. Perhaps actually going to attach a water energy to his Keldeo EX. 2 turns later, he could Secret Sword, but he can rush in, and then I would assume he'll retreat. Boy, he's got some tough decisions. He could actually leave the Keldeo EX, depending on how many Pokemon catchers Xander has used. He might actually leave the Kyurem on the bench and then try to wait for that Silver Bangle. And he actually is going to do this. He's going to retreat into Deoxys EX and pass. And if Xander can hit a catcher here, he will be in incredible shape. He has one. He has one in his hand. Risky move by Pram, kind of playing the odds, saying, all right, I don't think you have a Pokemon catcher. And wow, this is going to be a huge turn for Xander. How can Pram respond to this now? I don't know if he can. He may just be on the clock here, where Darkrai just Night Spears him to death. And wait, Xander actually decides to Night Spear the Deoxys. He's setting up for the win next turn, but he's giving Pram 1 turn to draw this Silver Bangle to win the game. Another risky play here. And will Pram get the Silver Bangle off of the Juniper? He gets a Computer Search. He just needs to search for that Silver Bangle, and he'll win this game, folks. Xander was holding onto the catcher so that he could knock out the Deoxys and the Kyurem in one fell swoop with that Night Spear. Pram plays the Computer Search, gets the Silver Bangle, I think, and that is going to be the game. Silver Bangle. Yes, Pram plays lasers and Silver Bangles, and Pram looks like he steals the game, and Xander shows he had the catcher in hand to win the game the next turn. What a bizarre ending to this first game, but Michael Pramawat will win game number 1 in what is sure to be a very close series here in round number 7. Xander shaking his head, saying, I just need 1 more turn. Maybe he would have been better off playing the Pokemon catcher, knocking out the Kyurem there. You know, maybe he got a little bit greedy, saying, you know what, I can win next turn if I just Catcher, Deoxys, Night Spear for the 3 prize turn. As long as Pram doesn't hit his 1 silver bangle, which I don't even know he plays, I'll be okay. And you know what? Pram had the silver bangle. Now Xander has information about Pram's deck. This is a cool part about best 2 out of 3 series in Swiss rounds. If you were just playing a regular single game Swiss round, that surprise would just cost you the round. You would lose that one game and it would be over. But now in a best 2 out of 3, Xander knows, alright, now I know Pram plays both lasers and silver bangles, so I can prepare for that better in the following 2 games. Next time, I won't take that risk. I thought there was no way Pram could knock out my Darkrai, but now I know. Alright, I can be hit by a silver bangle. I have to keep my eye out for that. And I guarantee if that situation comes up again in the next game, Xander will immediately Catcher the Kyurem and take that Night Spear knockout. So in a best 2 out of 3 series, adaptation is very important. Figuring out things about your opponent's deck list is very important. And we'll see if Xander can adapt and come back in this series, or will Michael Pramawat move on to the top 8 here at the Klaczynski Open. Game 2 here between Xander Pro and Michael Pramawat. Xander did lose the first game, so he'll have the option to go first in Game 2, which he obviously has done. Looks like he has a Darkrai active against Pram's Deoxys EX. Sorry about the glare. That's a pretty bad camera angle, but we can make it out. You can see the Darkrai now. Xander starts off with an attachment to his Darkrai, and then a level ball that will fetch him a Dino. And there we go. Level ball allows you to search for a Pokemon with 90 HP or less. Dino has 60 HP, so that's an easy target. Get that set up, start to get his Hydreigon going next turn, hopefully. And will he have a supporter with this? No, we have a pass. That's a bad start from Xander. Pram is going to go ahead and Catcher and Laser the Dino immediately. Looks like he got tailed on that. And there's a Juniper, discarding a Plasma, a Tool Scrap, or a Prism Energy, and a Tool Scrapper. Couldn't see the other card though. Ideally, Pram would like to get an attack off this turn. He would like to use Thunderous EX to Raid Knuckle. He would like to use Kyurem to Frost Spear. But he may not have the cards to do it. He would need a Colress Machine and then a way to move Deoxys to the bench. And it seems unlikely. And Pram will pass the first turn as well. Now, was Xander just sitting on a monster hand with a rare candy Hydreigon? Or did he just not have a supporter? These are the kind of 2 options with your Stage 2 decks. Looks like he may not have had a supporter, and he top-decked that Skyla. And he's actually going to Skyla for the N here. He attaches a second energy to his Darkrai EX. You know, at least if the Dino goes down, he'll be able to Night Spear on the following turn. That's probably his thought process. He's just going to leave the Dino up there to sacrifice in the active spot. Yep, he's going to pass his turn. And now Pram will have the opportunity to take on the Dino and possibly Frost Spear this turn. We'll have to see, though. Does put the Prism Energy onto the Kyurem. And it looks like he's got a Keldeo in hand. He's unsure of whether or not to bench that. He benched the Absol. So he's trying to decide, do I want to bench Keldeo? He's trying to figure out his bench space. How many Deoxys do I need in play? And the answer is probably 3. Oh, he had an N in his hand and he opted not to play it there. He's not going to give Xander another opportunity to draw extra cards. So it's a questionable move from Pram. Just letting Xander play the end first, because Xander's now going to get an opportunity to get a rare candy Hydreigon. First of all, the Dino lives. I guess Pram was just thinking, you know, if I play this N, I give him a new hand. I don't want to do that. If I miss my Float Stone or my Switch, I don't get to attack. So is it worth risking it? I know Xander doesn't have anything besides the N, so I'll just force him to play the N, and then I'll be the one to draw extra cards, basically. But this does give Xander an opportunity here to draw into some incredible cards. He does have an Ultra Ball and a rare candy in his hand. Ultra Ball's away a Dark and a Dark Patch. And now what could have been a potential knockout for Pram on the Dino turns into a disaster situation. A rare candy Hydreigon Night Spear. This is not what Pram wants to be looking at. He wants to be putting on the pressure in this matchup. And also a Dark Patch from Xander. He's getting lots of energy in play. Looks like he may have a blend as well. Nope, he's going to retreat. Move the energy up with Dark Trance, get the free retreat from Dark Cloak, retreat into Darkrai, and not Dark Spear, Night Spear. So he's going to do 90 damage to the active Deoxys EX. 30 to probably Kyurem, potentially Absol. Set up for an easier Night Spear knockout on the Absol. Plays a blend as well. I think Xander was debating. He was saying, it was actually like a really smart thing. He was saying, all right, my last card's an energy, but if I play it, I put my hand down to 0. I can make it look like my one card is a supporter, and then maybe Pram will still end me. But I kind of want the blend energy down to block Hypnotoxic Laser. So that was extremely intricate and complicated there. Very smart move, though, considering not putting down the energy. And oh boy, Pram is catching out the Hydreigon. This has been his strategy in this matchup so far. Bring me that Hydreigon. I am taking that out of play. If I can just fight straight up against Darkrai, I'm happy with that. And we have the Laser, plays the Verbank as well, the Energy, and a Blizzard Burn. Pram will get the first prize here. He's still not in a great position, though. Xander does have this Darkrai. He can Night Spear. And if Pram cannot put the Kyurem to the bench, he cannot use Blizzard Burn this turn. So he'll be forced to pass. His only supporter in hand is an N. He may have to play it this turn. So he's still not in a good position. What does he get off of the top deck? Anything good? Oh, he hit a Colress. He may want to do that instead of the N, because Xander has 0 cards in hand. Looks like that's exactly what he's doing. So off this off this Colress to 4, will Pram draw a switch? He needs a switch here, or a Keldeo and a Floatstone. Otherwise, he just wants to leave the Kyurem active, because it's got 120 damage on it. It gets knocked up by Night Spear regardless. You want it to take the 90 instead of the 30. Protect your other Pokemon. There's a Floatstone. Does he get the Kyurem? And I do not see a Keldeo. Sorry, Keldeo, not Kyurem. He does not have the Keldeo to rush in and retreat, and Pram is going to fall behind in this game now. Now, he did take out the Hydreigon, so that was a big win for him. But he'll be left with no energy to play. Like I said, if he retreats the Kyurem, it just gets targeted down by the 30 bench damage from Darkrai's Night Spear, so he's just going to leave it active and pass. And Xander's just going to go ahead and Night Spear. He did not draw a useful card. Take the prize, tie the game, but there's 120 on this Deoxys EX. And even if he attacks with it with Helix Force, it's going to go down. All right, here's an N from Pram. I'm sure Xander's happy about that. Pram not so happy. Pram needs to make a move now. He needs to get energy in play right now. He needs to get an energy down on Kyurem, or maybe a Thunderous EX and Raiden Knuckle this Darkrai. That would probably be his preferred situation. Raiden Knuckle for 40, maybe 50 if you can get another Deoxys as well. But he's going to have to draw some good stuff here. And draw good stuff indeed he does. We have, oh, he's actually going to play the Prism onto the Deoxys, even though it's surely going to fall to a Night Spear next turn. He has a Colress Machine in his hand. I think maybe he's out of Plasma Energy. Otherwise, he would have played that Colress Machine and then gone ahead with a Frost Spear. Do 40 and then 32 bench Pokemon. And then he could just Blizzard Burn for the knockout on the following turn. I think he maybe had a Plasma Energy in the deck. Pram's usually a player who keeps track of all that stuff. So I would assume the only reason he wouldn't do that is so that, or the only reason he wouldn't play the Colress Machine and Frost Spear there is because he doesn't have any plasma energy left. Or maybe he overlooked it, I'm not sure. Maybe he thought doing 100 was just the better move. However, Deoxys EX, I think it will go down to a Night Spear. And Xander's going to go ahead and Juniper. Looks like Xander has all of the momentum in this game. So will Xander be able to... he benches a Hydreigon. Boy, that would be nice. If you could just put that thing right into play, boy, this game would be a lot different. Energy switch gone? Who cares? Let's just bench a Hydreigon and move all my dark energy around. Alright, so we do have a Night Spear. Xander takes the knockout on the Deoxys EX. Pram promotes the Plasma Curum. Can he do anything this game? It seems like he's just run out of energy in play. Gonna discard a Juniper and an Ultra Ball here. Grab a second Deoxys EX. Maybe this is the play he was going for. He's gonna Chorus Machine onto the Deoxys, and if he hits a Prism Energy, he can get a knockout here on this Darkrai EX. He's actually going to put it onto Curum. I wonder what he's going for here. And you have to ask yourself, if he had the Plasma Energy left, why didn't he just do it last turn and go with a Frost Spear with Curum? Kind of curious as to why he did that myself. Now I don't think there's any real way for him to knock out this active Darkrai. He could get a ridiculous combination of cards. He could get a Silver Bangle and then another Deoxys. That would be a knockout. He also needs the energy to attack. I don't think he got one. He does have the Bangle. Oh man, he missed the energy. If he had the Bangle and the Deoxys, the Frost Spear would have knocked out this Darkrai and Pram would have just taken the lead right back. But he did not draw into a Blend or a Prism. So it looks like he'll have to pass this turn. And Xander is going to tie up the series, it would look like. I just don't see what Pram can do from here. This was the one turn he really needed to do something. And he just did not draw the cards to do it. So let's see. What's Pram going to do here? Just going to pass with that Curum active. Rare Candy, Hydreigon. Now Xander can put it into play. Dark Trance is the energy away. We're going to see a Max Potion. Heals all the damage off. This is why Hydreigon can be such a powerful deck. And Dark Trance move the energy back up to the active. Beautifully played by Xander this game. Another Blind Energy goes down on his Hydreigon. And Pram seems to be, well, almost drawing dead here. I don't see what else he can do in this game. Xander is going to Computer Surge, discard a Dark and a Hydreigon. Looks like he may grab a Dark Claw. Night Spear for the knockout. And then it's just a catcher on the Deoxys. Dragon Blast. Xander can wrap up this game in 2 turns. There is the Dark Claw. Now Night Spear does 110 damage to the active. It will knock out the Curum, which already has 30 damage on it. Set up the Deoxys for the knockout on the following turn. And Pram is in trouble. I don't even know what he can do here. He would need some crazy combination of cards that he doesn't even play. We're going to see a Chorus here now from Xander. He's going to shuffle in and draw 7. And, just keep stockpiling resources. And he has the catcher in hand for next turn as well. So he can just Night Spear, 30 on the Deoxys, I would assume. Yes. And now Hydreigon can just Dragon Blast next turn for the game for 140 damage. And I think Pram realizes this, but he's just going to try to look for a way out, see if there's anything he can do. We have a Tool Scrapper. Discards the Dark Claw. Now, if there weren't any way for Pram to win, what would it be? Probably not passing with an Absol active. This would not be the way to win. And Xander is going to have a Pokemon catcher on the Deoxys. Hydreigon comes out. Pram scoops up his cards. And Xander Perot, our senior player, 2011 junior national champion, is going to tie this series up 1-1. So that means we are down to one final game. Michael Pramawat, Xander Perot, the winner of this final game here, moves on to the top 8. Winner moves on, loser goes home. One game to decide it all. Now, Xander has looked very strong in the first 2 games. You would almost say Pram got kind of lucky in the first game, drawing those cards when he did. Xander has had a very strong setup in both games, though. Stage 2 decks easily can fizzle out, so we could always see that happen. But it looks like Xander actually has a very well-equipped deck for this Plasma deck. A lot of people thought that Plasma had a very big advantage over the Hydreigon deck. And that may not actually be the case. It may actually just be a very close matchup, especially now that Virizion EX neutralizes the Hypnotoxic Laser. Really takes away a lot of the option for the Plasma player to knock out their Darkrai EX in one hit. And that's the big thing. If your Darkrai EX gets knocked out in one hit, normally you're losing the game. Your energy goes away. You just can't recover all that energy that quickly. If your Darkrai survives, which it can now, with Virizion EX neutralizing the poison, then you can just max potion the damage off, and this is why Hydreigon becomes a viable deck once again. So it looks like we are setting up here for game number 3 between Michael Pramawat and Xander Perot, round 7 of the Klaczynski Open. And we're going to have, a Dino versus a Thunderous EX. Oh no, there's the Prism Energy. Is Pram going to get a turn 1 win here? There's the Hypnotoxic Laser. He just needs 2 Deoxys or a Burbank City Gym. And this game is over, and Pram will move on to the top 8. Will Pram get it? He's considering using a Colress Machine just to thin out his deck by a card, or at least look at his deck to see what his odds are. He's going to look through, see how many Verbanks do I have, how many Deoxys do I have. Is he going to get the turn 1 win here in this final 3rd game? This, of course, is a danger of the Hydreigon deck as well. Losing on the first turn, you do play 60 HP Pokemon. Dino, you play 70 HP Pokemon. Sableye, all are readily knocked out by these big basics like Thunderous EX. And Xander has to be sweating here. Nobody likes being in this situation, being at the mercy of your opponent's draw. Will Pram get the victory on this turn? He has a Professor Juniper, 7 cards to draw a Burbank City Gym, a Computer Search, or 2 Deoxys EX. Here we go. Juniper for the game. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, he missed. Xander will live on. We're just going to have a Raid Knuckle. Wow, all right, we're going to have a game here. And Xander, that's where your heart starts beating again. Whew, we lived through the turn. We're going to have a game. So we're going to see a Raid Knuckle for 30 damage. It'll add up to 40, and then he gets the energy on Kyurem. Now this is still an incredibly quick start for Pram. And Pram is laughing. He knows, all right, we're going to play a real game. I'm sure he would have loved to get that turn 1 win, move on to top 8. But he knows, all right, well, we'll play for the camera, I guess. But Pram did get a really strong start. He got 3 energy on board turn 1. Having 3 energy on Thunderous, or having 2 energy on Thunderous isn't ideal. But at least he now has an energy to retreat, and then he'll still have 1 left on there to Raid Knuckle. Can also power up Thunderous Noise if he wants to. I'm not sure if he wants to, but that's an option. Now, if Xander does not heal off the damage from the active with a max potion, a play does open up for Pram. If he can catch the Dino, get a Laser and a Verbank, and then Frost Spear that Dino, he can knock out both at once and take a huge lead in this game. Take away the option for Hydreigon at all. That is a lot of cards to need, but it is a possibility. Now Xander just put down this Darkrai EX. He Ultra Balls for it. And looks like he's doing some math here, trying to figure out what he wants to do. He's going to attach to the Dino and retreat into Darkrai and pass. All right, so this play is here for Pram. He can pull this off if he has a catcher, a laser, and a Verbank, along with an energy. There is the water energy. He has the Hypnotoxic laser. Looks like he may try to just knock out Darkrai if he has that option. He'd have to be pretty lucky to do that, though, so he may not play the laser here. Xander also has 2 cards in hand, but he did Skylar for an Ultra Ball. So you probably assume, alright, he's probably got a supporter. If I play an N here, I'm not just giving my opponent a new hand. I am just kind of playing it, and I know my opponent has a supporter anyway, so I need the cards. Maybe he'll do that. So their option is just to retreat, and he could Frost Spear, actually. Knock out the Dino that has the energy on it, and really slow Xander down in terms of his setup. Looks like that's exactly what Pram's going to do. Retreat into his Kyurem. Is he going to play the N, though? He may play the Hypnotoxic Laser just to try to get some more passive damage on the Darkrai. Looks like that's what he's going for. And he's just kind of hoping Xander does not explode in his face like it happened last game after an N to 6. So there we go. There's the Frost Spear. Knocks out the Dino. Pram takes the first prize. What does Xander have? Oh, here's a similar situation. Here's the N. Last game, Xander played an N, and he got a rare candy and a Hydreigon, and really just set up and overwhelmed Pram. Here is another similar situation. Can Xander get some sort of setup here? He needs a lot of stuff. That Kyurem is starting to just build up too much energy. And if it goes unchecked for too long, Blizzard Burn can just start doing a number on all of Xander's Pokemon. There is a computer search, discarding a blend and a random receiver. Are we going to see that Hydreigon this turn? We'll have to see here. Just searches right for it. Yes, we're going to see a rare candy Hydreigon this turn. And Xander will get some bit of a setup here, but he does not have the energy to go with it. There is the rare candy, the Hydreigon. Boy, what does he do, though? That Darkrai is just left in the active spot, ready to die to a Blizzard Burn. Hydreigon, I mean, he could retreat and then promote Hydreigon and then just try to get the Dark out of the poison. But if he does that, Hydreigon can get knocked out by any number of cards. We have a Float Stone going to Kyurem. What is Pram going to do here? What does he have as an option? He's actually going to retreat. He does not have anything after that N. Oh, this is a very bad draw for Pram. Looked like he was about to just overwhelm Xander with some Blizzard Burns. But instead, he doesn't even have an energy. He has to retreat and Raid Knuckle for 30 onto that Darkrai. And now, Xander has a Juniper. He gets a fresh 7. He could really start to set up. If he gets a Max Potion here, he's in great shape. And yes, there is a Darkrai EX. There is a Max Potion. Heals off that Darkrai completely. Can Xander pull off a Night Spear this turn? That would be devastating for Pram. There is the Dark Patch. He just needs an energy now. There is the energy. Retreats into Darkrai. Dark Trance, all 3 energy active to the Darkrai EX, and Pram is in so much trouble. He needs to top deck something right now. What does he draw? A Prism Energy. That's not what he wanted to see here. Now, what are his options at this point? Puts down a Deoxys EX. Puts down a Kyurem with that Prism Energy. He cannot even knock out the Hydreigon this turn. So he's actually going to Raid Knuckle. I do like this play. Get some more energy in play. Build up those Kyurems. Give yourself the best chance you can. Hits the Darkrai for 40 in the process. Sets that up for a Blizzard Burn later. He does have a second Deoxys in hand as well. I think he's trying to bait Xander there. Say, yeah, I only got one Deoxys in play. Maybe you should Night Spear with your active Darkrai, huh? Huh? Maybe? And then if he leaves it up there, he just benches a second Darkrai. Blizzard Burn for 140. But now we're going to see another Night Spear from Xander. A knockout on the Thunderous EX. And Pram has to promote that Kyurem with a 3 energy on it. Does not draw anything good. Just a Pokemon catcher. And what can Pram do here? He's really in top deck mode. Oh, he's going to catch out the Darkrai that he can knock out with Blizzard Burn here. Try to get some more cards out of his prizes. This is a risky move, but it very well could pay off. If he gets a Professor Juniper or something like that from his prizes, could put him back into this game. There is the potential for him to get a knockout on this Darkrai EX on the next turn if he gets the correct cards. It looks like Xander's going to play an Ultra Ball. What will he go for here? Will he go for perhaps a second Dino? Will he go for that Virizion EX? Potentially block the Hypnotoxic Laser? Or a third, well, I guess a third Darkrai since one got knocked out. He's going to go for the second Darkrai, looks like. And judging from Xander's hand, the main reason Pram would just take the knockout on that Darkrai is because of Max Potion. He knows Xander plays a heavy amount of Max Potion. And there is one in Xander's hand. So if he just hit that Darkrai for 140, Xander would just move the energy off with Dark Trance, and then he would just go ahead and Max Potion, and that's pretty much it. Oh, we have an N. Okay, so this is going to put Pram at 3 cards, but this may be a situation where you're happy to go to 3 cards. Pram's hand did not look very good at all. And maybe this will give him some life to draw a supporter off of these 3 cards. That Darkrai is not safe. If Michael can get a third Deoxys and maybe a Silver Bangle, he can knock out the Darkrai. And if he does that, I think he's going to win. So it'll honestly mainly come down to this turn. We have a Night Spear, 90, 30 to Deoxys. What is Pram top deck? A Tool Scrapper, not what he wants. He has an N in his hand and a Pokemon catcher as well. Does he try to catcher the Hydreigon and then try to get an energy and maybe a Deoxys? He's actually going to go for the Dino, try to go for the third Deoxys this turn, maybe Frost Spear for the knockout. Then he just has to take one more knockout on that Darkrai EX. This is not a good situation for Pram, though. He is stuck with 3 cards in hand. Xander will be as well, but Xander definitely has the better position. So here we go. N to 3. What does Pram draw? He gets the Deoxys. Does he get anything else to go with it, though? Gets a Verbank City Gym. He's going to go ahead and put down the Deoxys and the Verbank. He'll get the knockout on the Dino, but here is the problem. Xander has 4 energy in play. He'll be able to Dragon Blast with Hydreigon, take out this Kyurem. And when he does that, Pram is left with no energy in play. We are going to see the Frost Spear. Hydreigon comes up. Virizion EX comes into play as well. Max Potion removes the 30 from the Darkrai, attaches the Dark to Darkrai. Oh, and a Professor Juniper. Pram's head hits the table. Classic Pram move. Flashbacks to Yuta Komatsuda at the 2010 World Championships. Pram knows at this point he is pretty much done for unless a miracle can happen. We're having the Dragon Blast for 140 damage, knocking out his Kyurem. Xander will go down to 2 prizes. What an incredible draw for Xander off of that N. I mean, geez, 3 cards. You could not have asked for much more. There is the Dragon Blast. Knocks out the Kyurem. We're tied at 2 prizes apiece. Just Pram does not have anything. But he gets a Juniper, or a Computer Search, which will go for a Professor Juniper. And maybe, just maybe, there is an outside chance of Pram pulling off a miracle here. There's a top deck. What can Pram possibly draw off of these 7 cards? Let's think about it. Mind Jack currently for Absol. It's doing, it'll do 80, 110, not enough to knock out Hydreigon. I mean, it just doesn't look like he has any possible way to pull this off. There was actually a way he could have won if he drew a perfect 7. He could Catcher, Virizion EX, Hypnotoxic Laser, Chorus Machine, Prism, Silver Bangle. That would have been just enough to knock out Virizion EX and win the game. Now we're in not such a good position for Pram here. He has a Team Plasma Ball. Really, that was the only way he would have won. He would have needed a ridiculous combination of cards to win this turn. And now it's just up to Xander, because Pram will not be able to win the game this turn. Xander will have one shot here to win with a Dragon Blast on Deoxys EX if he has an Energy and a Pokemon Catcher. So Pram is going to Plasma Ball for the Thundurus EX. Does he have a way to get his Absol to the bench so he can use Raiden Knuckle here? Seems like he's got the Plasma Energy. No, he has to attach to Absol. And pass the turn. Does Xander have the Catcher? He's moving the energy up. Pokemon Catcher on the Deoxys EX, and Xander Perot, our senior player, will knock out Michael Pramawat. Move on to 6-1 and make it to the top 8 here at the Klaczynski Open. This is not something anybody expected. When you talked about who would win the Klaczynski Open, who would win this tournament, you probably had players like Pram, probably had players like Ross Coffin, all these other Worlds competitors. But when it comes down to it, 2 senior players decided to play in the main event, and both have made it to the top 8. Wow. I don't think anybody could have expected this. So poor Pram did not draw very well in that third game, but congratulations to Xander. He is now 6-1 and will advance to the top 8 here at the Klaczynski Open. Anything can happen at this tournament. Who knows who's going to win? We have all sorts of different decks, all sorts of different players, different skill levels, different areas of the country, and we have a top 8 here coming up in a while. We're going to head to a lunch break after this round. I believe we're slated to start around 2 p.m. Central Time, so please join us back then, maybe even 1:30. I'll let you guys know what time we're coming back. But we are going to have at least an hour, hour and a half for a break here for lunch. Then we're going to move into the top 8, let you guys know who's going to be playing in that, and we'll see you guys for the top 8.